Morning and welcome to Irreverent Knits. I am Tracy, the owner of Low Country Shrimp and Knits, and we are with Judi, the owner of Maggie Loves Yarn, and welcome to our December holiday.
December, it's here, Christmas.
We've made it, and so I started off the month already screwing up. So actually, a couple good screw ups. So I started off this morning breaking the law. So I thought I'd just start the day off with a felony. That's how I rolled. So I went to get Friday mornings I got to get my Dunkin' Donuts, so I'm ready to go.
Brings me a chocolate
and
donut.
I get her a chocolate donut. So I go to the window and I'm like, hey, can I have the big straw? Because the little straw just comes to about here, and I'm always like, stabbing myself in the eye. So I like the bigger straws. It is what it is. So I'm like, can I have the bigger straw? And she goes, okay, why do you want the bigger straw? And I'm like, bye. So I explained why I want the bigger straw. And okay, thanks.
And a bigger mouth.
Yes, I just need that. So I get my bag and I drive away and I get almost here and I'm like, I never paid.
I've done it.
I never
I've paid and driven off without my stuff.
I've done that too. I've never paid. So I turned around, I went back, and I'm like, hey, it's just me again, the one that just stole all my order. And she laughed. She's like, okay, come on through. So that's, I started off my day with,
You want to take my picture for future reference?
Yeah, here I am. Make sure she pays before you give her her food. So that was my start, and I'll fill you in on how I've already screwed up Christmas in just a little bit. But so I wanted to quickly get into, we've been asked, kind of this is the big question right now. What do we get for people that are yarn enthusiasts, yarn connoisseurs? So that's kind of a big question this time of year, especially if you're not a knitter or a crocheter or someone that works with yarn. You kind of walk into a shop like this and go, oh my God. So we have some kind of ideas of what would be a good gift.
And we're going to go over that.
So, and I got some new books
I have
in.
to start with a story.
So, I know, you just got to start with a story. So, buckle up. So, anyways, we're going to talk about some books that just came in from Lane. These would be some good holiday options. We had some questions on, I can't figure out what's going on with catching these floats. So, we are going to go over a good way to do that in a little bit. And Judy's got a lot of projects that she's in the middle of, too.
Oh, yeah, we're going to work on telling, but we got a lot to do. But I have to start with a Christmas story that only happens to me.
Of course, that's good for you.
Our next door neighbors, that used to be our next door neighbors, moved to another neighborhood. There's a storyline and an arc here, so stay with me. It connects at the end. So they moved to another neighborhood, and they always have a Christmas party. Now, my husband's favorite show, and yours too, is Yellowstone.
Yes, that's so good.
Yellowstone.
Love
Yellowstone. And the daughter is the biggest badass that's ever been on TV.
Beth.
And
yes.
She's married to this, her husband Rip is this gorgeous cowboy. Okay? Now remember that, because it comes back later. Okay. Well, a couple weeks ago, she got into this big barroom brawl because some chick came on to her husband. Mm-hmm. Okay? So it was hysterical. So remember that. There's an arc here. So our next door neighbor, always decorated for Christmas. I mean, it's unbelievable. It is so beautiful. I mean, 5 or 6 trees, and wow. I mean, just their family owned a department store in Morgantown, West Virginia, for years, and so they have all these ornaments. I mean, they decorate right down to the chandelier and everything.
Wow.
And so they moved to another house in another neighborhood, and they invited Gordon and me last night to come over to their open house, and and somebody else. So we knew we wouldn't know anyone there.
Right.
So I get there late because I was here for the shop.
Slave driver.
I told Gordon, just meet me there, no problem. So I go in and I see him across the room, and I say hi to Randy and Sandy, and I start to go across, and this woman pops up. And I've watched her. She's one of those, I'm not being nasty, but look at me,
Oh, yeah.
She's comes to my shoulder.
Okay.
Blonde hair, and she's got on a nice black sweater with the cutouts, and she's got on Lululemon tights with Santa faces on.
Lululemon.
Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
I never know how to say it. Lululemon. Lemon. I would say Lululemon.
Lululemon.
I say Lemon. With the Santa faces all over them, which are cute, but not when you're my age.
Right.
So, and I thought, well, she's going to say, oh, hi, how are you doing? She goes, who are you?
Oh.
And I went, well, I'm Judi, and you are.
Right.
And she goes, well, I'm Linda. And I said, okay, and why are you here? And I went,
because we were invited?
I know, because we were invited. We used to live next door to
why is anybody here? Wait, this looked fun. We just thought we'd crash this party.
So, she's like, I was the first person that ever met them. And I was like, fine, whatever. So, right off, she's on my list.
Right.
So I go across and I meet Gordon, and Gordon says, well, what do you want to do? I said, I want to eat a side of beef. I'm starving. He goes, well, that's not for a while, so let's go drink instead. I'm like, okay, good. So I go up to the bar. We kind of knew the bartender, and so he gives me a glass of wine, and I thought, I'll behave. I'll be so good.
Okay, proud of you so far.
Watch her expression on this, because here it comes. We're standing there, and we're just kind of talking and looking around, and across from me is my favorite tree that she always does. It's done in all blue bulbs. It's probably a $1,000 tree right there.
Right.
It's like the whole house has been decorated by Garnet Hill.
Right.
Okay. Here comes Lululemon, Linda, up, and she stands there, and she goes, she looks at me, she looks at Gordon, and she goes, so does he belong to you?
What?
I swear to God, I'm like, are we on the set of Yellowstone? Am I playing the role of
Does
Beth
he
Dutton tonight?
belong to you? No, I just picked him up.
You know, am I supposed to punch her into the tree? But that's my favorite tree. I just kind of like, seriously, are they filming? Are we on the set of Yellowstone? And I started laughing, and I kind of went, well, if you mean it for Mary, yeah. And I can't stop laughing. She's throwing on, well, we're going on a cruise next week. I went, it's great. I'm just still laughing because I'm like, what the hell?
Why? Did you want to take him home? I mean, what?
I don't know.
Did you want to return him to somebody?
I mean, Gordon's talking, oh, what are you going on your cruise?
Gordon wandered off. Let's get him back to his owner. It's okay.
Yeah, did you see the knot, the collar, and leash around his neck? I can't stop laughing. I know she thinks I'm rude because I'm just laughing. I'm like, oh, whatever. And so she walks off, and Gordon looks at me because I'm cracking up. And he goes,
at least you didn't have a beer bottle.
He goes, what was that all about? And I went, I don't know. I thought I was going to have to go all Beth Dutton on her. And so then he got it, and he starts laughing, and he gets all puffery. You know, so what are you saying? I look like Rip. And I went, Rip in 40 years. You know, Rip of Christmas Future, maybe, with the white beard or whatever. He's like, it's because nobody said that. It's like, honest to God. What the hell? I really seriously thought, oh, I could take her.
Right.
But
she's little, but she does have Lululemon on. Maybe she's a worker outer. You don't know. She maybe, she'd surprise you.
I'll take out the tree. That's my favorite
teeny
tree.
tiny tough girl. We can't take out the tree. No, I mean.
It's like.
Yeah. You have to hit her with your martini or your margarita. Yeah. And okay. Gordon on the night before his birthday getting hit on. Woo!
Does this one belong to you?
Only me. Only you.
Only me these things happen to.
Yeah, this is actually me too. But
I don't react well because all I can do is stand there and laugh.
Yeah, I was just telling someone today how I have no poker face. I mean, at all. Like,
my grandmother always said that about me. You do not have a poker face.
I have none, and like I can't lie because everything's show. I'm just like none of those things. So yeah, I don't know how I would have laughed too because I always laugh when I'm uncomfortable or it's inappropriate. So. I would have been like, oh my God, are you hitting on Gordon?
Yeah, I'm like, okay, I'll take that second glass of wine now. I don't care that it's an empty
Back
stomach.
off, Jolene. Back off.
You know, what do you say?
It's Judi.
Like,
it's just Judi. That's how he does Judi.
People that say things.
Oh my God, I love it. I love it. Okay, so now you're not divorced yet, so that's good. So... You know,
it is his birthday. Happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday, Gordon. You hunk of burning love, clearly.
I know.
Are you single today?
I got him a great birthday present.
Okay.
If he still belongs to me by next April.
Well, I mean, if not, I'll go with you.
Okay.
Okay, terrific. So, all right. So I guess let's start off with the first question that I wanted to cover. So we started doing a while ago. Judi kicked this off because she said her fingers were feeling twitchy. She needed to do some color work. So we decided to do this heron stocking, and this is the pattern that we're working with for this color work.
Why don't you tell the truth?
So
I got to get this off. It's bothering me.
Okay. What is the truth?
No, it wasn't that my fingers were feeling twitchy. It was I got a text that said, I think we should do a stocking before Christmas.
No, that's not quite how it went down. We were working on...
Yes, it was.
No, it wasn't because we're still
working. We should do a stocking class before Christmas.
Okay, I did say that. But But you said your fingers are getting twitchy because we were working on.
I said we should do a color work one.
We did, yeah, because we were working on our cardigan over there, the one I call Dumpster Fire, and there's no color work involved. It's just straight knit and purl. And she was bored, so she said her fingers were getting twitchy. And then I happened to say we should do stocking, and by we I mean you. So that is the impetus.
I should probably pull that one down.
So
it's the infamous heron stocking.
It's the infamous heron stocking. So this is my first attempt at color work. So we kicked it off here. I've gotten, well, because of course you're doing it upside down. So I got the hanging section done. And then when you're flipping it over, you're kind of working from the top down on this color work. So this is my first time. And if you were here with us when we kind of kicked it off, Judi was telling me that the green is the color that pops. So I carry it in this hand. And then the other one is, the other color. And so, as I'm kind of working around this project, I'm having a hard time getting when I'm working with this hand, the floats to go so that they don't show in the front. So they don't show in the front. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, the little flecks don't
yes.
show. And once in a while, because, how do I say it? I don't see that much problem when you're working with heavier yarns like we are in this.
Yeah.
But I still had it on the sides. And I think sometimes when I'm done, I run my yarn up through and pull it a little tighter.
Okay.
And mine's worse than yours. And I always get it on the side because I don't want to. I have a problem if I carry it too tight.
Yeah, and so it kind of puckers.
It puckers on the side.
Right.
So that's something I've really, really worked on to get that out. So now I tend to wrap it and it tends to want to show because it's looser on the sides.
So how do you remedy that?
Well, you shouldn't probably wrap it where I wrap it.
Okay.
For one thing. And just be careful how tight you pull it.
So because this is a stocking and not socks or a sweater, the fact that I've got some that are
bigger.
Okay, because I've gone, this one I went between, I didn't
Yeah.
wrap it where I probably should have. So theoretically, it shouldn't be an issue because you're not putting anything like your hand into
and
it.
Theoretically, you shouldn't wrap in the same spot every row.
Right.
And I do on the sides because I want to get it around so I don't pull it tight because it's the lesser of two evils. Do I want to have a little spot of white show or
Right.
whatever, or do I want to have it tight and have it come in, and I don't like it coming in.
Right.
So I mess with the white, and once I blocked it and kind of tugged it to the back, it doesn't show.
Okay.
So it is. It's like the lesser of two evils. What do you want?
Okay.
See here on yours?
Yeah, it's where I didn't wrap it.
Yeah.
And I should have because it's pulling it tight now.
We'll show that.
Yep. So
it is.
here
But
I
it's up at the
didn't wrap
top.
it on the side, but it is going to be on the, the edge of the stocking. And since this is my first color work, I figured
It's not going to matter.
So that's kind of where I'm. All right. So at least I'm not totally in the. See, it's here on this side too. So
yeah.
So you wrap here when
you're here.
Yep.
Okay, and you got 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
So I'll wrap again before that last stitch.
Okay.
So that when I go to the next needle, I'm only pulling it over one stitch.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So like I would take this one off. Maybe. Talk
Dun,
among
dun,
yourselves.
dun, dun, dun.
Talk among
No
yourselves.
pressure. Should I play the Jeopardy theme song?
No.
No. Okay.
It just makes me nervous. Makes me feel like it. That's why you always have to be careful. I always laugh when you go into stores. And when I worked in retail, that's an important thing. What kind of music you put on in the background?
Oh God, yeah.
Because if you put on fast music, it tends to make people shop faster.
Huh.
You want them to kind of relax.
Take their time
and
and,
go.
like spa day.
I've noticed that before when this fast song comes on, you tend to want to go.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you have one more stitch, and you got to make it green. In a minute. Oh yeah, that's right. And your green is your.
My green is my pop color.
All right, so I wouldn't carry it 3 stitches. I would wrap that. Just lay it over top,
Okay.
and then stitch it.
Okay. All right. So at least.
Because now I've got both of them down here at the end
Okay.
to turn.
Oops. So anyway, what she did was wrap this one here so that as I turn this corner, because I'm working with 2 double pointed needles, or 2 circular needles, excuse me. So that case there, the floats aren't going to be in the same spot.
Right, and
when they won't.
because it's a stocking more for decoration, you're not going to use it.
No, correct. But I'd rather learn good technique
Right,
now.
but what I'm saying is they can be longer floats because you're not going to catch a toe or something in it.
Right. All right. Well, that's good to know. So you should now normally with something, if you're doing something smaller like this, you said what, every 3?
3 or 4.
Okay.
It's interesting. If I'm doing, how do I want to say this? Like sweaters that this is a heavier, I tend to go every 4 just to
All right,
make it looser.
I'm going to take this down so we can kind of see what you're talking about.
I tend to go like every 4 or so. It depends. If I've got 7 stitches on here, I have 7, then I may go 4 and 3 or whatever that way. Fingering, I tend to go a little more often. If it's a scarf or something, I tend to go a little more often because it keeps its shape.
Okay.
Some people say in socks, if you go every 3, I have a friend that swears like every 3, you go every 3. But in socks, if you tend to go every 3, you tend to start getting it a little tight.
Okay.
And then you can't get it on over top of your
Right,
heel,
so it's less
or it
stretchy.
won't fit. So I do have a good hair day today, don't
You
I?
do. It's fabulous.
Okay, so moving on. So this one I tend to 4. I'd go 4. 5 I feel like is too big.
Let me just kind of ease in here.
Not too much problem. You tend to get a feel for it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we are knitters. If you ever watch any of their videos, they go, you just, and then you stretch it out, and that's the trick too, to keep it from being tight. Before you wrap, push those stitches down that you just did, and then when you carry it, you've already made it looser.
Okay.
So that's where I had a hard time when I started doing color work, remembering, because I would get it up here so I could knit it all bunched up.
Right.
And then when you go to hit that next color, just push it down, and then take your next color, and it's always going to keep it loose.
Okay.
That way. And that's just that little trick of pushing down those stitches before you take the next one, pushing down the stitches before you change your color.
Okay. So that is hopefully answers some of the questions on, how to wrap or catch your floats when you are working with colorwork. So
And that's a hard one to do it with. Well, the top part, not so much.
here's the pattern that we're working with. And for me, I'm like, visually it's upside down, so I'm like,
Oh, no, it's really
I'm
hard.
like, oh,
So
and I'm like,
you're
trying
really
to count all these things. I'm like, oh.
So you're like right here, right?
Yeah, I just baby.
And actually, this is not an easy pattern to do it on. Something like the cow,
Yeah.
or whatever, that you repeat. This one I'm repeating every 24 stitches.
So at least
and the best
gets a
piece of
cadence
advice I
going.
ever got was you kind of memorize.
Right.
You kind of memorize that pattern for that row. It's knit 3, 1, 1, 1, knit 2, 1, 1, 1, or
Right.
whatever. Okay, because when you do that, then you can work and really pay attention to what your stitches are doing, and then if you end up going, ooh, wait, 24 should be a white and I'm on green, and you only have to go back 24 stitches or whatever.
Right.
But you catch it. Otherwise, you don't. If you're looking at your pattern, you miss that there's something off.
Right.
And
there's little chunks of 10, and they change constantly in this one.
Yeah,
so
that one's not good. You
this
cannot
one's a little
memorize
bit-
it because it's just one bird.
Yeah, it kind of is. I have to pay attention, and I'm blind, so there's always like, what am I looking at her? So, anyway, so she's been playing with this. This is called Biche and Bouche. It is a Le Gros wool, so it's a thicker wool. Now, when we first got them, they feel kind of stiff and crunchy almost.
It's sticky.
It is a sticky
Because it's great for color work, especially if you're going to steek.
Yes. So this is, at first I was like, oh my gosh, this is not going to, it's from just squishability. It's not like this, kind of squishiness. But
And for down here, when it's a warm climate, it's like, oh, what did we
that's,
make?
and they're lovely company. They've been just wonderful to work with. And so I really wanted them to be successful here. But the yarn itself, as you play with it, it kind of fluffies.
It softens.
It softens
Well,
up.
because there's still a lot of the oil in it.
Yeah.
And so,
lanolin.
when I beat it with the spoon, it's
Spoon
going to
beating.
look beautiful and
She
kind of
encourages it.
settle down and everything. But it is a little sticky. So I have my aluminum needles from Knit Picks on here because it's so slippery and it's still
a little sticky to it.
But and it makes it hard as you're going around. And the one thing that makes it hard is it is a heavier yarn. And I'm using size 10 needles, but it's a bottom up, even though it's a yoke sweater, you're working it from the bottom up.
And this is the Islington.
And I absolutely love the sweater. Don't get me wrong. But, so you get to about here, and then you make the sleeves, and then you attach all the sleeves. So I'm doing this whole color work around the sleeves and everything at the same time, which makes for a really heavy sweater, because I'm working in worsted,
right?
Plus a heavy worsted, plus I've got the weight of the sleeves. I'm not just going around, and then, oh, here, let me put the sleeves on. Here's the sleeves. So it's a little, it's the pattern itself, the chart is not hard. It's a very easy chart to follow. It's just you take thumb and then you go, ugh. and I had to put an extender on. Where's my extender? Right here.
On your
I had
cord?
to add on to make it long enough to get the sleeves on and everything. And I felt it earlier, about 5 rows ago, and it was coming off.
So then it gets stuck every time you're kind of trying to go through that.
Yeah, which is good, because then you catch it. Otherwise,
Right.
it comes apart, and all of a sudden it's like, ew.
Yeah.
There's all my stitches on the floor. So I tighten it, but now I check it every row.
Right.
You know, I'm like, is this still on?
Every time you get
so
by
it
it.
takes me a while to get around a row. And that's okay. There's only 35 rows, and I think I'm on row 10 or something like that.
All right.
Maybe not 8 or 9.
All right.
So it'll get there.
Yeah.
It'll be done by January.
Yeah. So I think you'll be done sooner
Yeah,
than
it
that.
will.
But
Because then all I have left to do is attach here.
yeah, underneath the
I
arms.
know. Yeah.
Underneath the arms. No biggie.
And yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad, and I think it'll be pretty because then I'm adding a blue
Yeah.
instead of a pink with the thistle, because we didn't have pink.
Right.
So we got it in, and I went, oh yeah, I want to do that sweater. So I'm adding a blue, and I think it'll be really, really pretty.
Yeah.
I'm, and the sleeves have a little bit of color work on the sleeves, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
It is a neat sweater. We'll probably end up teaching it. We played because we knew we wanted those colors, and then I went, oh, let's try the burgundy, and I think the burgundy absolutely is gorgeous.
It is beautiful, and it's not just a straight. It's got some like hints of blues in it,
Mm-hmm.
so it's really just this lovely.
And it's got Maggie
blend.
hair in it, so
And
it's
Maggie,
a tweed.
the dog, is with
It's
us.
an automatic tweed.
It is. It becomes a tweed. So, and it, we're talking about with memorizing the patterns. So I finally pressed flowers and I made up. And so here, I don't have much time right now. I'm absolutely like a catastrophe in my life right now with everything going on. So I haven't had much time. And now we're getting to the point where each time around is a good solid amount of time. There's no quickness to this pattern as it increases as you're going. But it is, you can recognize that this has to be so many here, and then you start a flower. So each time you start, you're adding on. So the pattern for the first couple of times this is all you get. And then they kind of go, and figure it out from there. So it's coming together, but this is a much easier pattern to just make sure you've memorized, like Judi was talking about. And Pressed Flowers has, there's a cowl, there's a sweater, a jacket. Is there mittens too?
Oh,
A hat, there's a hat. So all kinds of fun things. So everyone, there's a lot of talk on Ravelry about Pressed Flowers. Amy, Christopher's is the one that does all of these beautiful, and I love it. It's just a fun.
Oh, it was fun. I love doing it. I wore it to SAF, and I got so many compliments. I actually had a lady stop me in the parking lot and say, now you've encouraged me to finish mine. It's so pretty.
It is.
And she said, and I love
Yours
your
is beautiful.
yarns. And I went, I dyed the colors. And then
Yeah.
she was doing this in the parking
Yes.
lot. And I felt so special.
And you should. And the Revelry is deserved.
My husband was with me, and he was like, whoa. She is
So,
a badass.
Yeah, so that's a fun pattern, and we're going to talk about next week what are the top patterns on Ravelry for 2022. And by we, I mean Judy's looking up that information for me because she is the queen of Ravelry, and I just kind of go, how do I do that? So we're going to talk about
She
those.
thinks I'm the queen. I said, I don't know. I just asked. Well, I pulled up first top patterns of 2022, and I got mostly tops. And number 4 was ranunculus, and I cracked up.
Okay, so ranunculus, if you don't know, is my albatross. Like, I tried, all these people are like, look, I've done all these albatross. I'm like, I can't even do the neck of it. So that is my failure of the year.
How many has Cindy done? For you?
I don't know, 6, 7. She comes in, she's like, look, I just did this, whipped it out this afternoon. I'm like, ah! So, that's my...
I had 5 minutes before I had to leave for the store, so I just whipped out.
I just thought I'd make a ranunculus while I was out here. How's your coming, Tracy? I'm like, so yes, that's what's going on. So we are going to talk about about that coming up next week. So if you want to maybe buy someone a pattern that's kind of everyone's talking about, that will be the opportunity. We can maybe put a kit together for that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, kits are fun.
Yes. So you've been working, speaking of kit, you have been working on this blanket now for football season.
I started it in January this year, and I'm going to finish it up before
It's her
Christmas.
college football game
I put it
day.
away. Shut up. It was so bad. So bad. It was so bad, and we're
Yeah.
big Ohio State fans.
And your Michigan.
annihilated
We're
us.
not even allowed to say the M.
Kicked us out of
Michigan.
the playoffs and everything. It's just,
They
I'm so
spanked-
mad I didn't even
they
finish watching the game. I
spanked
did
you.
not finish watching the game. I
Yep.
went
Judy's
for a
decided
walk
I am now watching soccer.
and went to Walmart and came up. But what was really funny was our friends up the street are big Michigan fans. And, they endured our teasing for several years. So, not a big deal. I know we got to take the teasing or whatever. And we have in our backyard, we have a lagoon. And we have all these pine trees.
And an alligator named Kevin.
Alligator named Kevin. And we have a lanai with furniture everywhere on it. And we have this big picture window in our dining room. So it was like dusk after the game. And Maggie's at the window barking. And she usually does at the deer that come through. So I'm ignoring her. And Gordon goes over to get her to stop. And he bursts out laughing. And he goes, look out the dining room window. Here are Kathy and Jay in a golf cart doing victory laps around our house. And every time they go by the window, they're doing this. How, he was probably having some good beers during it. And how he missed the furniture, the trees, Kevin, and sliding into the lagoon, I have no idea, but it was absolutely hysterical.
And I'm a bad person. I would have laughed had they fallen in as well, because
know.
I
It
am
was
that
so
I am
funny.
that person. So
Yeah, they're doing victory laps.
I don't blame them. So,
I know. We deserved it.
So how is the blanket coming? So this is so funky.
I'm on my last part. Okay, so if you remember the story, I absolutely love the blanket, and I'm a retired school teacher,
And part-time stalker.
part-time stalker, and the kit was $175, and it's like, I can't do that. I just can't. And by the way, somebody in around here did do the kit, and she brought it in.
Yes.
And it was absolutely
And it's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
So what I did was I got on Ravelry and some other sites and looked at the blankets. I looked at what other people had done. It takes 10 skeins of worsted weight. And of course, I'd been dying for a while, and so I thought,
I can do this.
I just figured it out. It's slip stitch. I've taught slip stitch.
Right.
I've taught mosaic. So I put together my patterns of what I would use it, figured out how to do, and they said it's an I-cord, bind on and bind off. I went, okay, I can do that. Cast on, cast off.
Yeah.
And then I literally blew up somebody's and counted how many sections there were in between. I think I put actually more. I think when Lori brought hers in with the kit.
Yeah.
And I said, is it 48? She goes, no, it's like 20. And I went, oh, well, so mine's going to be bigger. And then I figured out how many stitches. I think there's 307, and you do an I-cord on the side. So I had to figure out how many more stitches to add on for the I-cord. And there it is. I'm on my 10th color, and I'm at the very last part.
I love this last part. These are my colors.
I'd like to teach the class, but I'm afraid I'd get in trouble legally.
Why?
So
Teach the class.
this is the so if you see on the side, we're doing an underground pattern. This is the,
This is the underground pattern. Dun 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 dun.
it is luscious. It's
Low
really
Country
nice.
Shrimp and Knits is not responsible for Judi stealing. Thank you.
She won't bail me out, in other words.
I'll laugh though. I'll laugh a lot.
Just like Rip did not bail
Beth
out.
Yeah. So I see. I love this. Like I'm more into like the muted. Oh,
Well, I am
so
too, but I
pretty.
really wanted to play with different colors, and so I kind of like it how it goes bright to muted back to kind of like bold at the end.
You are definitely you've got the artist eye that I lack, but this is beautiful. You're doing a great job with this. Go girl, go.
Maggie's already starting to claim it. It's like, no.
Well,
she claims all my blankets.
she needs to
she's
calm
so
down.
Cute. She's a cuddler dog that likes blankets.
Well,
And she
my
just,
dogs too.
You
But
know, and
I'm
she,
not that
she
nice.
Claimed, I did one, and it was just out of real cheap yarn, but I did a Noro blanket that's round. So
Yeah.
it's really pretty. And from the time she was a puppy, it was like, this is mine. I'm like, no, you're not. And then you look over and she's on it. How'd you, and you start to use it, all of a sudden she's on it.
Kind of
And
find her way,
She's
weasel
done
her
that on
way
a
in.
couple, and she's trying. She eyes this one like, I think I'd look good on this. It's like, no.
So we were kind of talking about some other good gifts for the holidays. So these are circular needle protectors. So if you have somebody, or you are somebody that uses circular needles, now Judi uses them for everything. I love my straights. So when I can use straight needles, I definitely use straights. Do you ever? I've never seen you use straights, I don't think.
I tried to learn on straights and I kept dropping the other one. So I was like, this is ridiculous. I take 2 stitches and I have to pick it up because I'd forget.
Right.
And now if I try to use straights, if somebody comes in and I try to show them on
throwing them, I'm like, what? Stop throwing. This is why we can't have nice things.
I just didn't enjoy it. And I got somebody said try circular. So I was like,
so this is what she does. So these protect. So when you're done, you're nothing falls out. As far as, you ever throw your thing in your bag and you're like, get it out. You're like, oh God, I gotta put all these stitches back on.
When I get done, I just take them. And I put them on. And she got them in once before, and she sold out within 24 hours.
24 hours. These are all gone. They're back.
So she's got more in.
So we've got here, they're from Knitter's Pride, and there are a couple different sizes here. They don't fit really jabungus needles. So if you're doing like a 13 or something, they're not going to fit in these things. But there's I just am trying out a couple other size needle protectors to see if they work. So we're seeing, some things work, some things don't. As a small business owner, you're always like, oh, we'll try this out. See if people are liking it, or if not, then it's on sale. Yay!
And, they've been out for a while.
Yeah.
And they've kind of died out as the fad. Because, in fact, I need another package, but I'm not going to get any right now. And now they're coming back.
Yeah.
I see more and more people using them again.
Yeah.
They were like a fad, then they weren't a fad, and they came back.
Now they're back.
And now I use mine, rubber tips. And we figured out how to use the... did I bring it? Oh, yeah. The strings.
Oh yeah. So last week
we did figure it out.
We had a bit of a misnomer here as to how we're supposed to use these guys. This is what we have them from the Knitting Barber, and
a friend sent them to me.
Yes. So last week we kind of dropped the ball on how to use. So we figured it. In the middle of the night, Judi wakes up and goes, "Oh my God, we were totally doing this all wrong," and so we're just going to re-explain how you're going to use this as waist yarn as opposed to a
lifeline.
Lifeline, thank you.
You're not supposed to use them as a lifeline.
You could.
But
You
I
could.
don't know how you do it.
I don't use a lifeline anyway, so I know I should.
So what we figured out was they go on the tip of your needle like this. This part we were right on.
Yes.
And you slide it down on.
Still looks like a
So
condom.
let's say you're going to you need a holder for your sleeves. And here's your sleeve. You slide those off onto here.
Okay.
And
That's
then tie it off.
Tie it off. All right.
And
Well, we'll
use
have
it.
to.
So it's not a lifeline. They're more for stitch holders. And people who use them love them because they stretch and everything else.
Right.
So you can try it on.
Yeah, that's always the challenge, especially when you've got a jumper, as they call it, top down sweater, to make sure that it fits. So we'll have to get some of these.
Not a lifeline, stitch holders.
Yep. So we'll have to get some of these to try out here.
And they come in all pretty colors.
All right.
I think they'll sell.
Yeah. Well, we've got some other ideas. I just ordered a couple Swifts and a couple ball winders because those are always good gifts for the holidays. I'm trying out. There's a couple new needle kits. I've got one coming, for the interchangeable needles. So those are always good gifts. Locally dyed yarn. Your girl, she's here. So those
we're looking at getting the instructions on how to make the blocker for sweaters.
Yes, so
sweaters are really big here.
Yes,
you'd think
you'd be
they
surprised.
Would not be because of the fact we're in a warmer climate, but we have more people doing sweaters than we do like shawls.
We do, and you would think that we don't, but we get kind of wimpy. So those of us that hail from the north, you think we're hardy, and then within a year of being here, you're like, it's 70. I'm kind of chilly, and so
what was it in the 50s yesterday? And I had to drive out to Ladies Island because I did these cushions for a lady, and they were big. I did them for her daughter. I had done them for her, and it was really funny because Ladies Island is probably, by the time you go way out on Ladies Island, it's a good 45 minutes from here. And 2 years ago, this lady had called and said, would you do my cushions? And I was whining to Gordon, I don't want to drive all the way out there. Oh my God.
So pretty though.
And he goes, just go and tell her you're not going to do it. I said, okay. So I go out. Well, when you're driving along the marsh and you look across these marshlands and you see these houses that are 2 and 3 stories, and all you see is the screened-in porches.
Oh, they're
and
gorgeous.
everything.
Gorgeous southern houses.
Oh yeah, one of those you have to punch in the number to get into her driveway. It was one of those.
Yeah.
Easily 2 million, and it's like, oh my God. Yes. So she had called me and wanted me to do her daughters, and I said sure. So I got them done. And I took them out yesterday, and and they're right on the water.
Oh, nice.
And when I got out of the car, the wind was blowing, and I had on a sweater. And I thought, it felt like I was on Lake Erie in the middle of January.
Yeah, you get
it was
blood.
that cold.
Blood thins, and they're not kidding. It actually does.
It was cold. It was cold
It was
coming
chilly.
off that water. I would not have been sitting on her porch, her screened-in porch.
Yeah,
Oh my God, she has
no.
this beautiful screened-in
Unless
porch.
they have one of those fireplaces. That would be
but
nice.
it would have been cold even sitting by a fireplace. It
Yeah,
really
it was a little chilly.
It was a cold, cold wind off that water.
I'm training for the Hilton Head Half Marathon coming up in February, and so I did one of my runs yesterday outside, and it was a little nippy out there, but makes it for easier running, not quite so hot and oppressive. So, yeah. So, let me think. I know we had other stuff. Oh, books. So we again, as far as holiday gifts, books are always a good option because we are always looking for patterns and ways to show off patterns and looking at patterns and obsessing about patterns. That's why Ravelry is so big, and we have 11 million things in queue that we'll never have the time to make, but it's always good to think about. And Judi just goes through phases of like, now I'm going to be in my fingerless mittens.
How many pages you have in your queue?
I don't know. Nowhere near as many as you.
I have like 93 pages.
Yeah, no, I probably have
My
7.
friend will
But
go, I'm looking for a shawl pattern. I said, well, I have a couple cute ones in my queue. Go ahead and look. And she'll go, you have 4 pages of mittens. And I'm like, yeah, it was my mitten face.
Yeah.
And then she goes, you have 6 pages of shawls. I go, yeah, it was my shawl page. What's your point?
Yeah. So, but coffee table books are always a good answer. And Lane has the most gorgeous. I mean, they're just the most gorgeous.
I love Lane.
books.
They're my favorite people.
They are so beautiful. So I just got this one in. This one's called 52 Weeks of Easy Knits. And so this is great for a beginner because it gives you, all different kinds of options. So here's a nice sweater. But it's something that is feasible for someone that is not a master knitter yet, and they go through, and their explanations are very detailed.
Oh, instructions are great.
Yep.
They're very good at their instructions.
Really
I like that
detailed.
sweat. I like that, but I would not do it, but I like it. So somebody, if you want to do it for me.
Yeah. So
we
these
do
are
accept gifts.
these are this is a great option for the holiday. This one is one of my favorite. We have a couple of these. This is 52 weeks of socks. So if you have somebody that loves to make socks, and this is a very polemic hobby, either you love socks or you're like, no freaking thank you, and I am in that camp, the no freaking thank you camp.
We have a lot of people coming in doing socks.
You love socks.
The pictures, the photography that Lane does.
They're just beautiful. So
It's
no matter
just-
what,
they have they've always been popular in Europe, and now America. We're
kind of
always
getting on
late to
board
the
now.
party,
We're joining the party. We are here at the party here at Low Country Shrimp and Knits. But and this one too, gorgeous 52 weeks of shawls. We have there's a bunch of them that I carry here. We've got the book that she's been using. She's marrying the sweater.
Kavala.
Knitting
Kavalava.
Kavalava. So we've got that one and Sultan Timber. Those are also books that we have that we carry. They're just beautiful as far as gifts are concerned. So it's it's something that's something they'll gift that will you can keep out and that they certainly will remember. Especially for the people like, you don't know me, you don't know this. If you know someone that knits, these are great gifts for that.
Sometimes it's hard to buy yarn for someone if you're not sure what colors they like.
Well, that's the whole thing. So we're talking about some of the popular patterns that were for this year, so we can maybe put some kits together or some ideas for that. And I just kicked this one off because I only have 7,000 things I'm working on right now. Let's start another new project.
I made her.
She made me. So there was this book that she's got. Where did I put it?
Within.
Yep.
It came out in 2017. But it's still one of my favorite books.
So here it is. This is the book Within, and I don't have it currently, but I'm sure we can probably find it if you're interested. And so she had brought in this cardigan that I was like, oh, I'm a cardigan girl because I get hot, I put it on, I take it off, I put it on, I'm like constantly
It's
like.
called perimenopause.
Shut up, lady. It's not. I'm only 27. So, anyway.
Early perimenopause.
Really, really early. Decades early, in fact. So, this cardigan that she brought the beautiful book. So she brought in this cardigan, and immediately like, oh my God, I need to make that. And then she's like, could you hurry up and make it? Because I want my sweater back, which I find rude, but okay, whatever.
Well, she's like, well, what should, now she's got, this is a knit along, the stocking.
This.
She's got,
I got pressed flowers going on.
And she goes, what should I do as a knit along for the podcast? I went, okay, I'm going to get you back. Start that sweater.
Oh God. So I started the sweater, and so this one is really, so anyway, this is a kind of, that's not a great picture of the cardigan here. Here is a picture of it, but it's really
She's
cute
on the front
and it's
too.
cozy. Yeah, so this is, but it only shows kind of the bottom of it. But it's a really cute pattern, and there's a cute little story that goes with this book. So anyways, it kind of does this twisted, so I cast on, yesterday? 2 days ago, and I just left it at the shop because I've got so many other things going on. But it is kind of a twisted rib cast on.
It is a twisted rib, which is nice because it keeps it from stretching.
Interesting.
Because that's one that can stretch out.
Yeah.
Because I did it in a wool, the one that I have here at the shop, and then I did it again in a cotton just because I wanted a lighter weight.
But the cotton must stretch.
Not with a twisted rib.
Ooh.
I know, because that cotton stretched everywhere every time I tried to do it in something else, even though I loved it. So I put it in and I went, but with twisted rib, it wouldn't stretch.
Yeah. So this is kind of what's going on with that. I'm going to work on it really only at the shop because...
Yeah. What they did with this book was, and they tell about it in the other, they had this beautiful girl who is a model, and she was going to model all of them, and they were trying to decide how to do it and, put it in. So the photographer came to them, and they said, let's give her a boyfriend. So he poses with her in a lot of, so it's like a little storyline. Yeah, so I'd sit around a fire with that.
Yeah, look at that. Oh,
yeah.
look at...
She's beautiful, and she's got a beautiful boyfriend, and she wears beautiful knits.
Oh, must be nice. Must be nice to be her.
Yeah.
So
it was a really cute idea for a book, and then it just shows her with him. I think she's thinking about him there.
yes, probably. She's like, look at my collar.
Yeah.
Look at this twisted rib.